I will carry you on my shoulders as long as I'm able. Scare the monsters under your bed. Deep and abiding, liking for you is all I need. Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for you. You will grow up in the blink of an eye and move out and beyond your own. But no matter what comes your way, I will stay right here beside you to catch you if you fall. And deep and abiding, liking for you is all I need. Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for you.
Hello and welcome back to Periwinkle Stitches episode 2. It's the 19th of October today. It's getting a bit chillier, definitely looking quite autumnal outside now, which I absolutely love. This is my favourite time of the year, so I'm quite happy for those colder mornings. I live here in what is it's kind of the border. We're right on the edge of Warwickshire and Northamptonshire where we are. And I live here with my husband James and our 6-year-old son Joshua, who is currently at school today. And it's his last week of school before the half-term holiday. But we've got some nice things planned. I think we're going to go on some pumpkin hunts and stuff like that, and we have a lovely tradition each year where he can have whatever pumpkin he wants as long as he can lift it himself. And it's lovely to see actually through the years the pumpkins have got bigger and bigger every year because he can lift a little bit more. But that's a little bit about my little family here and where we live. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has liked and subscribed and written lovely comments and watched my previous podcasts. I was so nervous going into it, and I honestly didn't think that anyone would find it and watch it and enjoy it enough to like it and write lovely comments. And yeah, so I just wanted to say a huge thanks to everyone who's done that, and it's given me the confidence to come back again today and podcast again. So yeah, I still feel nervous. It still feels a little bit odd kind of talking to my camera, but I'm hoping as time goes on that will become more natural and more of who I am will show. And now I'll move on to the knitting. I think I don't have as much to talk about this time because I think I showed you a lot last time. I've got a few finished objects. I've started a few of the hopeful knits. I've started a couple of those. So yeah, let's get on to that then. I think I'm going to start with a few of my my latest works in progress. So let's go with this one. I showed this before in my little mouse bag, and this is, I think I said before, I knew I wanted to do the Strictly Sock Along, but I wasn't quite sure what sock pattern I was going to opt for. I had a couple in my Ravelry, but I decided to go because I'd seen so many people making these beautiful socks, and it's the Lola Socks. Strictly started again this Saturday just gone. I haven't watched it yet. I do need to get around to watching it. I was having to save it all up so I can watch it. So I've done quite a bit of the first sock, and actually it's such a lovely pattern. It's really beautiful. I just love, because this stitch pattern, Jules from So Sweet Violet has designed it so that it looks like the feathers of the song Lola. Yeah, so she's designed it to look like the feathers in her hair, is it? Yeah, I think it's feathers in her hair. I don't know, without singing it or listening to it, I'm not sure. So that's my progress so far. Hopefully you can see it on the camera and it's focusing. It's a really lovely pattern. And so that's I showed this last time, but that's it all caked up this time. I just love all those speckles and flecks of colour in there. It's lovely, and it's so pleasant to knit with, because I think sometimes I can be a bit of a product knitter, but this is definitely about the process, because every time you knit all these lovely little speckles, tiny flecks of colour that change throughout the pattern, it's just so lovely. As it's really nice to knit with. I think I said before that one is a Woolly Mama yarn in Mutant Mermaid. I think she's still got it in her shop. But yeah, it's a really lovely colour. I would definitely recommend that one. So yeah, that's the progress on my Lola sock. The nice thing about the Lola sock is not only are you paying for a pattern from an independent designer, you're also contributing towards charity with that pattern, because Tales of Cuckoo Land, she's running lots of different things over on her vlogs, podcasts, in aid of her son's school bus. I think the hashtag is #Bill's school bus, but if that's wrong, I'll put it down the bottom for you to go and have a look at. But yeah, so not only are you getting a really lovely pattern, but you're also contributing towards a very worthy charity. So it feels good for three reasons. You're supporting a local designer, you're supporting a charity, and you're getting a really lovely pattern as well. So yeah, I don't really have an awful lot to say more on that, other than, yeah, it's just really nice. And I think that's hopefully that's not blowing out because it's quite bright. That's the contrast colour that I'm going to put on the toes. If anyone's seen the pattern, you know that there's like a colour change on the toe area. So yeah, I love the, in this pattern there's a 2x2 twisted rib. And I'm looking forward to trying the heel on this one, because it's not one I've done before. I think it's I'll have to look it up, but I think it's the Goday heel. So yeah, that's my Lola sock. That's the progress that I've made so far. Really looking forward to getting going on those again. And I've got a few of Ali's vlogs, podcasts that I need to catch up with today. So I'll be doing a bit of knitting on my sock. The other thing that I've made a little bit of progress on, which I showed before, living in my bird bag, is the Expecto Patronum mittens. Let's have a look. I'll put them both on, have a look at where I've got to on them. I think before one was missing a thumb. They now both have the thumb. Expecto Patronum mittens. So all I need to do on those now is the insert, because this was at the end, you've got a provisional cast on. I had no idea what a provisional cast on was when I started these, so that was a bit of a learning curve. But next thing is to make the mohair insert, which is 2 strands of mohair knitted in the same shape as the glove, so that you've got a nice soft fluffy insert. So yeah, that's the Expecto Patronum mittens, and that's from the Harry Potter Knitting Magic book, if anybody's interested in looking at that. It's a really lovely book. There are so many lovely patterns in there, and a few that I'd like to have a go at. There's a lovely pair of socks in, there's quite a few different pairs of socks in there, I think in the colours of all the houses, and there's one that have got little colour work on them, which is the snitch on the sock. So really lovely. I would definitely recommend having a look at that book. That's whip number 2. Whip number 3 was the Swim Said the Mama Fishy, and this was just in the balls of yarn. This was a hopeful knit. I showed you last time the colours that I was using, which were I've got quite a lot left of this one, which I'm quite pleased about. So those were the colours that I was using. So I've got quite a lot left of the orange and quite a lot left of the Mr. B's We're Going on a Bear Hunt. And I've got one of these, but I think I might need to dip into this one because I'm getting quite low on the first ball. So the Swim Said the Mama Fishy, and this is how far I've got. I have been completely addicted to knitting on this. I think because it's, now I've done the colour work, it's now just stockinette stitching, and it's just really nice to just sit there in the evenings and not have too much to think about and just knit the body section. I'm really happy with how it looks. Move my tea so I don't dip it in it, but if I show you, you can see the little fish all around the yoke. I'm really happy with how it looks and how it's knitting up, and how the colours all go together. Just, yeah, really happy. And it's so nice to be knitting on it because it had been sat in my Ravelry list for quite a while. It's just really nice to have it here and at this stage. And I've learnt a lot of things from doing this because it's the first time I've knitted a jumper in the round. So it's the first time I've had to split for the sleeves. It's the first time I had to do the German short rows. So it's the first time I've had to do that. So I've learnt quite a lot from this pattern, and it's really taking shape. I've got a bit more of the stockinette to do on the body, and you can also get this in adult size. So you've got the children's sizes, but you can also get adult sizes as well. And yeah, I'd be tempted to make one for myself. But yeah, very happy. Love how the little fish swim round the neckline and the waves of the sea and everything. I've made a few little errors in it. I'm still getting used to doing colour work, but I think overall it looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. Looking forward to doing the rib section of that now. That was whip number 3. So that's how much I've got left of the first ball of the Cascade Heritage yarn. So I think that will definitely get me through to the bottom, to the end of the body, but I'm going to need the second one for the sleeves, I think. But I should still have quite a bit of that yarn left over, so I may make a pair of socks with what's left over, or something, or a hat. I could make a matching hat to go with his jumper, although that might, I'm not sure if he'd want that. Yeah, but yeah, so I'll have a bit of that left over, to make something else, which is always nice, and especially since I have quite a lot of that left over that I'm not gonna need for the jumper now. I could definitely make my son maybe a pair of socks out of that as well. So yeah, it's quite nice to have those little bits left over. Whip number 3, I showed this last time as well, but I've made a fair bit of progress on it. This is the Savoy Poncho from the Rowan Knitting Magazine 68. Haven't got it with me. I think it's 68, but if that's wrong, I'll put the information down here. So yeah, I made quite a bit of progress on this, because where you can see the stitch marker, that's where I was at the last time I podcast. So, not very well, not professional model. So then it kind of, I've got quite a fair bit to do, because then this will fold over and you'll have it across the whole of the body so it sits at an angle. It's a lovely colour. I'm really looking forward to having it finished, but it feels like it's taking forever. And then I've still got quite a bit to go on this before it will be the right length. So, I mean, it's an easy stitch pattern, so it's quite nice to just sit and do whilst watching the TV. So I think it will, if I just keep at it, it will grow and grow and grow, but I'm finding it's quite a slog. It's taking quite a while. I think it'll stretch out quite a bit as well, because it's itching my nose again. The wool that I'm using is an alpaca blend from Hobbycraft. It's leader of the pack. And it is, I think, from what I can tell when I do this, it's going to stretch out quite a bit when I block it. So it might be, I'm going to have to keep checking to see what the measurements is when I stretch it out a little bit, because I think that there's probably less to knit on it than I think. So yes, that's my progress on the Savoy Poncho. And that's my final whip at the moment. That's what I've got going on with my knitting at the moment, working through those. I don't like to have too many whips, because I do get a bit overwhelmed if I've got too much going on, and then I find that I don't knit on any of them because I just don't quite know what one to choose first. So I keep it fairly small. I usually have around about 2 pairs of socks on the go, and I mean, I've only started doing garment knitting recently. Okay, so I'll move on to finished objects now. I have a finished object here that I didn't show last time because it was mostly about the knitting, and I had quite a lot of knitting to show you, so I didn't want to make it too long. But I do enjoy a little bit of crochet. I'd stopped doing crochet for quite a while, and then recently I've seen a lot of people who have been doing various cross-stitch projects. So decided I might have a go at doing one. And this is what my first finished object is. This is a pattern by the Little Beach Hut. She's got some really lovely sort of sweet patterns, and they're all quite small. This is a 6-inch hoop, so they're all quite small patterns and quite achievable in a small amount of time. But that was what I've done. I chose this one because I liked that there were 3 of the little otters, which is me, my husband and our little boy, and I just think it's really nice. I'm glad I finished this. It'll probably go on my wall somewhere maybe. I have a little tiny craft space upstairs which I share with my son. It's his toy room, but it's also where I have a lot of my knitting. I have a big knitting cupboard, and well, craft cupboard really. So yeah, we share that space. I don't think I'd be able to podcast there though, because there's always toys all over the floor. But yeah, so that'll probably go in that room. I've got a few little cross stitches that I've completed over the years that would suit the playroom as well. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you today as something that's non-knitting, but something else that I enjoy to do. I've got 2 more finished objects. I've only got 1 pair of sock blockers, so I'm going to have to do a bit of reorganising. So this is a little Hocus Pocus socks, and I have got 2 socks now. Show you, it's got a lovely cable pattern which runs all the way down the foot, and let's see if I can give you a close-up of that and see the pattern. So if I do that, you'll be able to see that it's on both socks. Yeah, I mean, I think I said a lot about these in my last podcast. The yarn is Lay Family Yarns, and it's Autumn Leaves. I got this yarn in a de-stash quite a while ago, so I don't think that Kelly at Lay Family Yarns dyes this one anymore, but she does have a lot of similar colourways that are equally as gorgeous. So if you can't find this one, I'm sure there's one in her shop that is just as lovely. But I loved the name of the yarn, and it sat and fitted really well with the knit along that I completed these for, because this was part of the hashtag autumn sock along, which was run by at Flora Honeypot on Instagram, and I remember Caroline Loves to Sew. So it was run by them, and I think it's still going. I think it's going until the 31st of October. So you've still got time. I think you've still got time to make a pair of socks for that knit along. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed looking at all of the other socks that people have been making in that hashtag. Right, this is where I need to take these off of here and put the other finished object on now. Okay, I'm going to sip my tea. So these are the Peachy Socks by Debbie Ford. They're probably the most complex lacy socks or pattern in general that I've done. I did struggle a little bit with these. I find if I'm doing anything that's quite intricate, I need to have time when it's really quiet, and that I'm not going to get disrupted, because I have a terrible memory. I should probably write it down and keep a tally of where I am in the pattern, but I never learn. And so I never do that, and then I lose where I am, and then I end up going wrong on the pattern. So glad I finished them, but yeah, like I say, I found them a little bit of a struggle, and I think that as a knitter I've learned that if I'm doing anything that's complicated, I just need time to concentrate on it. But they are lovely. You can't, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see it on that one, the lovely lace and the cable down the side. It's a 2x2 rib. I think from doing socks, I've realised that I really like the twisted rib. This one isn't a twisted rib, whereas this one, is this one a twisted rib? That one is, and I think I prefer the 2x2 twisted rib to just the 2x2. It's quite nice to try different things. The yarn I use for that is a loom wool yarn, and it's the white peach colourway. It's just lovely. I don't know whether it's picking it up on the camera, but it's got gorgeous peachy tones, but they've got some lovely colourways on the loom site. So yes, that's my third and final finished object. The bright feather, which I showed you last time. It's a bit crinkly. That was the bright feather. That's still a hopeful knit. I haven't had time to work on that. It's the wool barn colourway, and the drops gnawed in like a vintage pink. So I haven't had a chance to work on that yet. I just really love how it's going to look. The colour work is going to look, because you've got this sort of vintage pink in this one, which is going to match with this. So that might be something I work on sort of relatively soon, probably after I finished my son's Swims at the Mama Fishy jumper. Another hopeful knit is another pair of socks. I've only got one pair of socks going at the moment. And I do like to have a couple that I can switch between. And the other one that I want to have a go at is this one, which is the Mint Sherbet Socks. And that is by Vanilla Wool. I did the Peach Frost, I think it was the Peach Frost socks from Vanilla Wool as well. They've got some lovely patterns. Got a nice pattern along the front, and the yarn that I want to use for that is actually one of my latest purchases, which is this gorgeous colourway. It's by Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit. See if I can get the right, if you can see it. It's just lovely, and I think it will look really nice for the Mint Sherbet sock pattern. It's got these lovely purples in it, and the greens, and there's a few lovely, really subtle speckles in there. Hopefully that's focusing. Really lovely speckles in there. I just love Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit's colourways. I definitely recommend going and having a little browse in her shop. It came with a little bunny stitch marker, very cute. So this one's called Tiny Steps, and it is a deluxe high twist merino sock yarn. So it's 75% extra fine superwash merino and 25% nylon, which actually sounds like it'd be too nice to put on my feet. I just kind of want to have everyone see that. So that's a hopeful knit and a new purchase that I've made recently. And then, so that's my only hopeful knit. Well, apart from the bright feather, that's my only hopeful knit that's going to be happening soon. I'm sure there'll be more. I'm going to go on to a few little crafty treats that I've picked up over the last month. One of them is not one that I purchased. One of them was a gift from my sister, who will probably be watching this podcast because she's very supportive of my hobbies, and she's a very knit worthy person. So this was a present from my sister. She does this now and again. We sort of chat quite frequently, and I was having a bit of a tough week, and so she sent me a little present in the post, and it was these. Hopefully you can see them all because they're sort of sat together there. It's from this shop, Otter and Spell, and they're all Harry Potter themed. So I've got a pair of Harry Potter glasses, And I've got Little Witch. Oh, she stays still, flying around on her broomstick. A Little Witch's hat, sorting hat maybe. And I've got the Deathly Hallows symbol there as well. As a Harry Potter fan, I absolutely loved these, but they're also, with the witch and the witch's hat, they're quite Halloween themed as well, so I can use them on some of my autumnal knits. And then you've got the silver Harry Potter lightning bolt scar. So yeah, I would definitely recommend going and having a little look at her shop. When my sister sent these to me, the first thing I did after opening them and looking at them all was go and have a look at her website, and she's got some really lovely things on there. So yeah, definitely worth a look. Some really lovely stitch markers. The other thing I've bought recently is another Hedgerow Yarns skein of wool. This one's called Hill Walk. And I don't have a lot of green in my stash. I don't have a massive stash, but they tend to be mostly sort of pinks and purples, and I kind of felt like I needed a green in there. And this is Hill Walk by Hedgerow Yarns. That's a merino nylon sock, 80% merino, 20% nylon. Just lovely, really love. I've said this before that I really like the Hedgerow Yarns colourways. They are just gorgeous. And the other one I've got recently is a mini skein set, and it's Halloween themed. It is like a Halloween rainbow. So if I try and show you them all together. So that's all of the colours. There's a green hiding back there. So that's they're a mini skein set in all the Halloweeny colours. Halloweeny. So I'll tell you what each of the colours are, because I love the names. So they're from My Mama Knits, and it's called the Happy Halloween set. They're all Halloween names. So the first one, which is this one, is Pumpkin Carving. And the second one I've got here is Crepe Paper Pumpkin. So bright, it's lovely. Office Party. Oh, Office Party Vampire, that one. It's really nice. It's quite pinky, that one. The next one is, shall I do it in the voice? I'm not sure. Blah, blah, blah. There you go, I did it. So that one's that one. And the next one is Shortcut Through the Cemetery. And there is Wizardry. Ornamental Bat. Just lovely. I like all the different tones in them. Spectral Blue. I think that's coming out quite similar to the colour I'm seeing here. And Slimer. It's a nice green. And the last one is Flying Ointment. My Mama Knits has got some really cool colours, and some of them even glow in the dark. I'm not sure if these ones do, but she's got some very cool colours, and some of them, they're very bright and neon and they glow in the dark. They're amazing. So you get, there's 100 grams in total in the set, so each one is a 10 gram mini. Not sure, well, my son really liked these. He saw them and he just loved them. He liked all the names, they made him laugh. He really liked them. So I might make him a pair of stripy Halloween socks out of these. And I think that would be a really fun thing to knit as well. So that might be my next cast on, is the stripy Halloween socks. I may have enough to make myself a pair of stripy Halloween socks and a pair for my little boy. There's 100 grams there, so if I made a pair of shorties for myself, I could definitely get a pair of socks out of it for him as well. So yeah, that'll be an interesting knit, I think. I'll enjoy doing that, and it'll be a nice simple knit. I think I'm craving a vanilla sock at the moment. I've done a lot of patterned socks, and I think that I just need a plain stripy sock. So yeah, that's everything I've got to talk about today. It feels really good to be back for another episode. I feel quite pleased that I've had the confidence to come back again and have a chat with you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, yeah, give us a thumbs up. I really enjoyed all of your lovely comments before, so really nice to hear from you. If there's anything that you'd like to see from me, or you'd like me to do differently in my podcast, let me know if the lighting is okay. I filmed this in my kitchen, so I've got a big window to the side here, so hopefully enough light is coming in and it's not blowing out or changing as I'm podcasting, because I think sometimes when you can hold up bright colours it can mess with the lighting. So yeah, let me know if there's any feedback is definitely welcomed. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Wish that I could stay in this moment forever, so I can hold you in my arms. I will carry you on my shoulders as long as I'm able. Scare the monsters under your bed.